Maraming Pilipino ang hindi nakakakain o walang access sa anumang uri nito. Sa survey ng Social Weather Stations noong March 15 hanggang March 25, 2025, 27.2 milyong Pilipina ang nakararanas ng involuntary hunger o palagiang pagkagutom dahil sa kawalan ng pagkain.
Ang isyong ito ay mas pinalalala pa ng food insecurity sa bansa, kung saan isa sa driving factors ay ang climate change. Ang malalakas na bagyo at mas madalas na mga tagtuyot ay sumisira sa malalawak na mga taniman, dahilan upang bumaba ang supply ng mga produktong agrikultural na ginagawang pagkain.
Gayunpaman, mayroong solusyon. Kung ano yon, tara, alamin natin! Mahilig ka ba sa kape o may kakilala ka bang mahilig dito? Kung oo, sure na makakarelate kayo sa ating hashtag #FutureEDSC Scientist ngayong araw.
Si Dr. Ernelea Cao ay Professor Emeritus sa Institute of Biology, UP Diliman. Siya ay dating Pangulo ng Philippine Society of Microbiology at Philippine Society of Cell Biology. Sa kasalukuyan, siya ang Pangulo ng Network of Outstanding Teachers and Educators ng Metro Bank. Kinuha siyang miyembro ng Biosafety Committee at Technical Advisory Group for Modern Biotechnology ng Department of Agriculture. Si Dr. Cao ay kadalasan ding kinukuha bilang reviewer ng mga papel sa IEETD, ANRD, at DOST.
Talagang bigatin ang ating hashtag #FeaturedEDSC Scientist, kaya tara, mas kilalanin pa natin siya.
My specialization is on plant genetics after my PhD. So I was conducting researches on coffee genetics and genomics, and then also with researches on cyanobacterial biotechnologies. I am not doing any research on GMOs, but I have been tapped by the Department of Agriculture way back in the early 2000s to give some kind of like lectures to clarify or to remove any misconceptions or false informations about a GMO.
Alam niyo ba na ang coffee beans na ginagamit para magawang iniinom nating kape ay susceptible rin sa mga diseases at mga pests? Yan ang isa sa mga focus ng researches ni Dr. Cao. Alamin natin kung paano ito nag-work at kung paano ito nagiging modelo ng iba pang genetically modified organisms o GMOs.
So my research essentially involves what we call as gene mining, or looking for genes that are responsible for actually resistance in plants, against pathogens that cause diseases. So in the case of coffee, so coffee is infested with what we call as corn borers, and then also what we call as leaf rust disease. So the consequence is that the plants are affected and produces low yield. So using molecular techniques such as DNA sequencing and using what we call as bioinformatics tools, we are able to determine if certain genes are present in certain varieties of plants. So, but we're not doing any GMO experiments. What we are trying to find out would be to select plants that could be used by coffee farmers that have these genes that will now be responsible for resistance.
Ang ganitong teknik ay ginagawa rin sa iba pang mga pananim. Halimbawa ay sa mais. Ang madalas na pag-atake ng mga corn borers sa pananim ng mais ay dahilan para bumaba ang yield nito sa anihan. At dito nagiging solusyon ang genetic engineering. Sa pamamagitan ng genetic modification, kumukuha mula sa isang bakterya ang Bacillus thuringiensis ng gene na nagpo-produce ng toxic proteins laban sa corn borers. Ang gene na nakuha ay ini-introduce sa gene ng mais, kaya nagkakaroon nito ng natural na anti-pest resistance. Dito, nakakabuo tayo ng tinatawag na BT corn.
Ang mga prosesong gaya nito ay tunay na nakatutulong upang malabanan ng mga halaman ng iba't ibang mga diseases at mga pests. Pero, tunay nga ba itong nakatutulong sa food production?
If the question is, has this GM corn or GM technology contributed to food production, or has improved agriculture in terms of food production? Yes, because instead of having low yield, so now farmers who grow this BT corn are able to produce more corn products.
Marami ring lumalabas na fake news o mga haka-haka patungkol sa GMOs. At kung isa ka sa mga doubtful, ito ang masasabi sa inyo ng ating featured EDSC scientist.
I'd like also to mention that there are many misconceptions or misinformation going around about GMOs. So there are these myths, for instance, that when you eat GMOs or GM crop, product or food, you will become sick of this and that. You will develop cancers and so on and so forth. But there has been no scientific basis on that. May risk analysis tinitingnan, like yung source nga ng protein is from a naturally occurring soil bacterium that is not pathogenic. The corn itself is or has a history of safe use, or even rice, the GM rice has a history of safe use. It's the BT corn or even the golden rice is essentially the same rice except for that one gene that has been inserted. All other characteristics are the same. So I think those have to be emphasized, so that the public will know the correct information.
Talaga namang malaking tulong ang genetic modification sa pagresolba sa issue ng food insecurity sa bansa. But wait, there's more. Meron pa raw ibang technologies na maaaring gamitin upang masolusyonan ito.
The other new technology would be what we call as genome editing or gene editing. So this is different from GM technology, because GM technology is technically genetic engineering, where you transfer a foreign gene to a host organism or a host plant. That is genetic engineering or GM technology. In the case of genome editing or gene editing, as the word connotes edit, you are not introducing any foreign gene, you are just editing, either by deleting certain gene. These technologies, whether it's genetic engineering or gene editing or genome editing, are already available. The techniques you can easily learn. Our young people young scientists even can easily learn. So you can just apply it to any other crop, or now even in the case of animals.
Punong-puno ng kaalaman ang naging kwentuhan natin kasama si Dr. Ernelea Cao ng UP Institute of Biology. Mas naliwanagan na tayo ngayon kung ano ang genetic modification at kung paano ito makakatulong sa pagresolba sa issue ng food insecurity. Pero hindi pa riyan nagtatapos. Merong paiwan na mensahe ang ating featured scientist para sa ating future scientist.
My only advice is that, whether you're a science major or a non-science major, especially UP students, and even if you're not a UP student, an ordinary individual, as human beings, we all have the capacity to think critically. And yun lang yung masasabi ko na advice. Whatever you are presented with, whether it's GM technology or whatever other technology or whatever other new information, kahit nga diba sa social media, ang sinasabi natin. The idea is to be able to critically examine. Ang point ko lang, wag lang tayo tanggap ng tanggap. Yun nga, even yun nga, yung information, sinabi lang ni ganito, nakita nyo sa YouTube o sa Facebook, ay, naniwala na kayo. Yung ganon. Ito, di ba? Ang dami. This herbal supplement can cure ganito cancer, can be anti-aging, ganan, reduces wrinkles, ganan, improve gut health and so on. Ang dami-dami, yun lang, ganun herbal medicine and so on. So, whatever it is, then be critical. Okay ba, ano bang source nito? Yung ini-introduce na ito, had then there been studies? Ganan, credible ba yung mga studies? You know, we don't have to be science majors to be able to think and examine things critically. Yun lang palagi ko. Kasi innate dapat sa atin yung parang pagiging critical, di ba? Kaya kayo nang tinuturo sa atin sa UP to be able to think critically, make your own decisions. Hindi tayo masway na, kasi sabi nung nung classmate ko, sabi nung celebrity, ganito raw, maganda raw tong ganitong gamot or whatever. Yun lang.
Tunay nga na sa krisis ay may solusyon at ang GMOs ay makatutulong upang masolusyonan ng issue ng food insecurity sa bansa. Dapat na suportahan ng development ng ganitong teknolohiya upang masigurong wala ng Pilipino pa ang magugutom.
Kaya bilang mga scholar ng bayan, mahalaga na itanggol natin sa gobyerno ang pagpopondo sa ganitong uri ng teknolohiya na siguradong makatutulong sa nakararami. Ito ang #FutureEDSC Scientist. Sama-sama itaguyod ang siyensa para sa masa.